Wagwan gang. Alright, so today's actually going to be a very special video because we're going to be building a tree species, not tree species, but tree type that I've been looking forward to building for a long time, and that is ancient oak trees. So in my repository, right, for some of the trees, not all of them, I have planned areas set out for having really old versions of these trees. Most of the tree species won't have that. Like, you don't need ancient versions of, I don't know, willow trees won't have ancient versions. Silver birch trees also won't have ancient versions. All these normal trees won't have ancient versions. But then there are a couple of tree species that will have a couple of these ancient trees. And that's not like a lot, as it's usually going to be 6 ancient trees per species then. But I've been looking forward to building those for a really long time. And the one that I've been mainly looking forward to building are the ancient oak trees, just because those are like, that's like the poster boy for old trees, right? Are these ancient oak trees. And I've been looking at so many pictures of these old oak trees because they look so amazing, right? You have trees that have survived hundreds of years of human history. You have trees that have been around during the early Middle Ages up till present day, right? And you can still look at them and it's just a piece of history, right? I'm gonna be throwing up some pictures of these ancient trees that I'm talking about on screen while I talk, right? As usual, y'all know I always do that. But yeah, all right, so ancient oak trees, right? So oak as a species is a very interesting species when it comes to getting old, because you'll have specimens that get over 1,000 years old. And the reason they can get this old is because in the wood you have, like, I think it's an acid or something. It's like it's some type of protection that's inside of the wood that basically protects the inside of the tree and the wood from decaying. That's one of those things that helps these trees get so old, right? When it comes to actually building the oak trees, right, these old oak trees, the goal that I have is to build these gnarled branches, have them very mossy, you know, thick trunks with rotted holes in them, because although they have this protection, they do usually rot from the inside out after I don't know how many hundreds of years. But yeah, I want to have these rotted branches, dead branches. I want to have these really strangely shaped canopies with holes in them to show where branches have maybe broken off and fallen off and died. Honestly, this is one of those tree types that just gives you as a builder so much flexibility in building, just because there's not really any set parameters, right? You don't have to make sure that the leaves look natural, because old trees, they don't generally look natural. You don't have to make sure that the branches are a specific shape. You don't have to, there's really nothing you have to look out for at all. So yeah, I look forward to building these, and let's hope that this test tree turns out good. Alright, so we're in game now, and I dare say this test tree, or concept tree, whatever you want to call it, turned out mighty fine. So, just looking at it, right? I mean, man, this turned out basically perfectly to what I was looking for. I was trying to get that gnarled tree look with the trunk that's split down the middle because of like rot or something like that. You even have like the I don't know what this would be called, but you see some trees that have like, they're rotted so far that you can literally like look through them. And this is one of those. Texturing, super mossy. I transitioned from I think it's dark oak wood. Oops. I think it's dark oak wood. I see dark oak wood to normal oak wood. Just like show the old gnarled like bark at the bottom in comparison to, like, I say newer, but this is probably like, realistically this would be like an 800,000-year-old tree. It's not actually a really tall tree. Although the stump is super thick, the tree itself isn't tall. Something that I like to do as well is I like to use like the Norway spruce. You have these branches. So you have these branches here from Norway spruce that are basically like they're normally meant for conifers, but I find they work pretty well for like these types of trees as well. It just adds that little bit of detail, you know? Yeah, so I'd say this tree turned out really well. And I'm excited to do the other 5, to be honest. We even got like some mushrooms growing on the branches here. I just thought that's cool. I've seen other people do that before in like old forests, just having mushrooms on branches, and I find it adds a bit to that fantastical element. Alright, so since this tree turned out so well, let's get to building the other ones. Oh boy, and just like that, we have 6 ancient trees done. And honestly, now looking back on building these trees, these might have been some of the most fun trees I've ever done so far. I don't know what it is. I think it's just like with all the other trees, because they're like young trees, you always have to have all these different features and specific things you have to look out for, and you have to make sure that the leaves have a natural shape and whatnot. But when it comes to these, you can just basically do whatever you want and it'll look good. Like on this one here, a whole chunk here is missing from the leaves just because this branch is broken off, right? And I mean, it just looks so nice, you know. This is actually here. This one here is the smallest one, so this is the first one we did after the test tree. But this is actually the smallest one. This is a little test. It's only a 2x2, which to be honest, like 2x2 trunk is already a fairly thick trunk. But in comparison to these other ones, this thing is tiny. But yeah, we have broken off branches on this. We got like the dying and dead branches. We have areas here, like here's another one that's just completely broken off. I used the dark fine wooden beam. I think that's actually the spruce wood beam vertical quarter, just renamed in the inventory. But I used that exactly, and I also like to use apple log, so mossy apple log in this case. Sometimes I use it without the moss. But yeah, no, I think this turned out really, really good. Same thing, super mossy trunk, gnarled to hell. Yeah, so I think this is actually, we also got, of course, we got mistletoe and whatnot growing here, because you see that a lot on these older oak trees. Let's just go to the next one. Similar to the first test we did here, we got a trunk or a stump, I don't know, yeah, it is a trunk. A trunk that's just like rotted to hell in the middle, completely hollow basically, and it splits off in these two taller tree trunks, right? I don't actually think this one had any broken off branches, but it's still, like, you can just tell by the size of the trunk. Like, this is 4 blocks wide, right? Well, 3.5, I suppose, if you only count that as like a half. But this is like a large stump just to show how old this tree is as well. This is actually, I think, one of the biggest ones here, right? Just size-wise. Another huge stump. We got a hole. I did a little hole here. With this is burnt, this like burnt log inside with burnt soil, just because I thought it matches like the dark rotted nature of rotting wood. Just have that little hole in the middle. You'll see that on many trees, but I think that adds a lot. And then just having like these, I don't know, you have, you know, epiphytes, moss going all the way up to the top. Some more of these broken off branches and whatnot. You'll have the irregular leaf shape adds to a nice silhouette of the tree. Some of these branches are dead and only have a couple of leaves left on them. This one also huge trunk. Like you'll see that with all of these. Like all these trees have quite large trunks, just because you see that in real life a lot. I mean, looking back at the pictures that I showed at the beginning of the video, right? You can see how big these oak trees get. This one, the whole top part of the trunk is actually broken off. That's what this is supposed to be. It's like supposed to be a broken off part of the tree. I thought that would be just a cool detail to have. Some more of these broken branches, old. Sometimes I use like this Norway spruce to show like a, I don't know, some type of bark infection or disease that this tree might have had. Again, there's some more of those mushrooms. No, this is pretty nice. I like to leave a lot of gaps in these leaves just to show where branches might have fallen off or broken off. And then coming to this last tree, right? So this is actually the tallest one, I think. This one's a 3x3 roughly. Yeah, 3x3 trunk. So this is a, yeah, so I'm measuring this tree. This is like a 26 block tall tree. So these are really tall for like tree standards, you know. I'm glad to have done these so far. These might be the most fun trees that I've built, besides maybe like the black poplar. But these were extremely fun to build, and I'm honestly looking forward to doing more of these ancient trees, just because, I don't know, they're so satisfying to build, you know? One of the characteristics that makes these trees so interesting is that they're not perfect. They're old, they have broken off branches, they have broken trunks. You can do all sorts of things. Maybe the next old ones I'm probably going to go even more extreme, because these are still like, I mean, these are the pedunculate oaks, so common oaks. But I'm probably in the next video, I'm going to be working on the sessile oak. So yeah, that's something that y'all can look forward to, seeing more of these old trees. I hope y'all enjoy this. So yeah, anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed this video, because I really did enjoy building these trees. Honestly, it's kind of strange to say, but although these trees are so big and massive and they take so much time, building these actually went a lot quicker than building like a normal tree species. I mean, for one, they're a lot less, right? It's only 6 trees instead of the normal 25. but I think it's also just because they're more fun. I pumped out, I think 3 of these I pumped out in one day, right? And these take like an hour and a half to build each. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I look forward to doing the next one, and I'll see you guys then. Have a wonderful day, and peace.